Okay, welcome back. So last time we started to get kind of an intro thing going on here. And this time what we're going to do is we're going to do some resampling tricks with our drum loop and create a sort of a intro thing with the drums so that when the drums actually kick in, the listener is already been introduced to the basic drum beat. So what we're going to want to do is actually record both of these drum part things here into one sample. So I need to create a new audio track. Oops. Just rename this drum sample. And then we're going to want to open the input and output and send this to that track, drum sample. And the same for this snare because it's in another group. To drum sample. Okay, now we're going to want to make sure that the input monitoring is set to in so that we can hear the drum loop. All right, so now I'm just going to create a region here. And turn the punch in and punch out parameters on so that it only records this, and once it passes this point, it will stop recording. So we're going to arm this track for recording, hit the record button. Okay. So now that that's done, we can change these inputs back to master. Outputs rather. Turn this back to off on the input monitoring so that we have access to what's actually in the track. Drag this over here. Now what I want to do with this is I want to do some reverse reverb tricks and then later on some filtering so that it gradually eases into the drum beat. And then when it kicks in here, there'll be some contrast between the filtered reverb version here and the actual loop. So I'm going to need to create another audio track, send this first track's output to the new audio track, 14 audio, 14 audio. Okay, turn off the CQ. Now we're going to want to drag a reverb on here and make it really big. Okay, so now what I want to do is automate the dry wet so that it starts low down here and goes up high, because when I record this, I'm going to reverse it again. And so it will end up starting out as 100% reverb, and then it will go downwards. 40. And I'm going to do the same thing for the decay time just a little bit. Actually going to make that happen quicker. Okay. Whoops, I did that wrong. Got to do that backwards. Okay, so now we just want to record that. And I'm gonna do the punch in and punch out thing again. All right, let's record this. I forgot a crucial step actually. We need to reverse these first. My bad. Okay, so just to recap, you reverse the clip, put reverb on it, then you record it, then you reverse it again so that it's back to normal. So now let's go ahead and record this. All right, let's go ahead and reverse this again. So now we have just the regular clip, but with the reverb reversed. All right, so now what I want to do is bandpass this so that when the drums actually kick in, there's an element of contrast between the lead up and the main part here. So I'm going to both high pass and low pass it in this EQ here. Bring this first band up to about 600. And then I'll make another band and bring it down to about 1K. Let's listen how this sounds. So I also want to put a redux on here as well as an erosion, just to degrade it a little further and add more contrast when the drums kick in. And you want to make sure that you put these before the EQ because they add high frequency harmonics. And if you don't have it before the EQ cutting off the high frequencies, then it's going to just defeat the whole purpose of band passing. So let's drag these up a little bit. So I'm gonna automate all these parameters now, and I'm going to have the bandpass filter just open up as it goes along. So I'm gonna have it end out at about around 200. And I'm gonna do the same for the higher band. Okay, I like this at 1 kilohertz better. So now I'm gonna automate the redux and the erosion. Just have those come down a little bit as it goes. And finally, what I want to do is put a filter over everything and just start it off so that you can't hear the drums at all. And then we'll filter it up gradually as it goes along. All right, so we have it filtered so that we don't hear it at all in the beginning. We have the bandpass opening up as it goes along, and we have the erosion and the redux coming down a little bit as it goes. So let's hear the result. Okay, that's pretty good. One last thing is I would probably put a reverb on here. And as opposed to before where we put the reverb on for effect, we're just going to put this on subtly to give it a little bit of a space feeling so that it sounds like it's a little further away from the listener. Okay, that sounds pretty good. I might open up this just a little bit further. Now, one thing I would want is a crash happening as soon as the drums kick in, right here, and maybe a sweep along with that. And then maybe in this area, something else happening to kind of subconsciously cue the listener in to the fact that it's about to change. So we'll do that on the next episode, and I'll see you then.